Hey, what's going on? Today I wanted to talk about hand mode on the Nord drum, why it's important and why I think that we should talk about it. When I first started playing drums, I was playing in hardcore bands and metal bands, stuff like this. Because that's the world that I came from, I tend to play a little bit more heavy, and as a product of that, whenever I look at the MIDI data that I've recorded from the Nord drum, my velocity is like pegged all the way at the top. This is where hand mode on the Nord drum comes in for me. Whenever I play with my hands, I tend to play with a wider dynamic range. And that works out really well because the Nord drum has 5 different destinations for velocity. In noise, you have the dynamic filter, which controls the cutoff of the frequency depending on how hard you hit it. You have decay mode, so depending on how hard you hit it is how long or short the release is for that decay. And then you've got the same 2 on tone as well as bend or pitch bend. So depending on how hard you hit it, it will change where the pitch is at and where it goes down to. What you're gonna do to get into hand mode, you're gonna hold down shift and you're gonna hit pad mode. And by default, it's gonna be set to TYST, which I think means stick, right? And then ha means hand. And then something else that you're gonna have to fuss around with is the threshold and the sensitivity as well. This is going to be different for each person, and I imagine that there's probably some difference between models and the pad sensitivity. I found that some of my other pads would trigger, not all of them, if I set the threshold too low or if I set the sensitivity too high. So you just have to fuss with this until it feels right for you, right? So that you can connect with it a little bit more. I'm going to exit out of this mode. Okay, I've created 6 different patches here, and I just want to sort of exemplify what I'm talking about. Let's start with this pad here. So this first pad, I have some dynamics built into the pitch bend. So the lighter that I hit it, it just sort of stays at that same pitch. But if I hit it harder, the harder that I hit it, you're gonna hear more of this pitch bend. I also have the dynamic filter set up as well so that you can hear the cutoff opening the harder that I hit it. I'll turn off the pitch bend just for the time being so that you can just hear the cutoff. Very cool. On this second pad, my dynamics are controlling the decay of this tone so that the harder that I hit it, the longer the decay or the longer the release. And the lighter that I hit it, the shorter the release. I believe that the way that this functions here is that 25 is the value that's set at the lowest, that's the lowest release amount. And then over here on the left side, or this top parameter, is going to be the max that it opens up to once you hit it at the loudest velocity. We can exaggerate that so that we can hear what we're doing. So I'll go ahead and open the decay all the way up to 50. That's the loudest. And then I'll put the lightest to maybe like 10. Let's do that. Which is really cool because you also get this sort of choke group cutoff thing going on. So I'll run through them real quick so you can hear what I got. I'm gonna try to create something real quick, take it over to Ableton, and then I'll show you what we got. Okay, let's do something really quick. We're not gonna get lost. Okay, so I've recorded the audio in. I have the low end on the top here and the high end on the bottom track. The low end. Here's the high end. Let's see if we can just do something really quick, okay? All right. I'm gonna take this loop here, duplicate it across. Love it. I like this, I think. Maybe just that, maybe duplicate this. Copy that. Ooh, I like that. Command J to join that together. I'm going to press A for automation. I'm sending this into the stomp box emulation, going into a little bit of a low pass filter, and then into a very short reverb by Softtube. I'm going to be using this all over this track and every other track that I ever make for the rest of my life. Do a little bit of a drive on the actual track here, maybe a distortion. Let's see what we got. Duplicate this all the way across. We'll just have this up. I'm gonna put a delay on this track here. Let's listen to it in context. I like that. This going up all the way, a curve like that. And then maybe we'll do just a little bit of delay. I'm gonna copy that and put it right at the end here. V, boom, done. I have something here called send verb. It is a grouped reverb, and I have a dry version and a wet version. And what I'm gonna do is just automate the volume of the wet version. So here's just the wet version. We'll solo this out so that we can hear what we're talking about. Here's the dry. And what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna go like this. Is that what that is? And duplicate that across. And then we'll throw this high end into the drive as well. That's got this really cool, weird sound because it's like the dissonant out of tune thing. I think that sounds neat. Yeah, that's really cool. I like it a lot. I really do like that so much. Okay. I'm gonna add this pedal with the fuzz. It's kind of a lot. Maybe just a little bit. And I'll add a drum bus to this low end here just to see if we can maybe make this sound just a little bit more punchy. It might be too much. Who knows? I love that. I don't know what it's doing, but the difference in the dynamics, there's a really cool character that's happening and I like it. So we're gonna add a new track, take this little bit of this first hit. I'm gonna hit R for reverse. Oh, that's lovely. Put this into some space. Let's listen to what this sounds like. Now that's all the way wet, so what I'm gonna do is the same thing that I showed before. I've got a dry channel. I'll name it so that I know what we're looking at dry. A lower amount. All right, that's it. Let's go ahead and throw a master on this here. I'm gonna get rid of this limiter that I have, Pro Q3, pull out a little bit of the low end. Compressor, we're going to the glue comp. I'm gonna let all the transients through. It's just gonna be sort of quick. All right, I'm not going to use the makeup gain. I'm going back to my EQ, and then I'm gonna get that volume with the EQ creatively. Saturator, Pro L2. We're going for punchy. Okay, I'm gonna keep on messing with this just a little bit. If you get a chance this week, take a listen to my album that I released a couple of months ago. It's called Precipice. It's like 90% Nord drum. I'd be really grateful if you took the time to listen to it. And otherwise, I hope you have a good week. Bye.